everybody. Hi, it is, I can't remember what day it is, Friday night. And Mina is going to join me in a second, and we're going to have a chat about the spin in public. No, the spin and Makealong. I am sleepy. Oh, it's been a long week, but it's been a good week. Ah, there she is. Waiting for, yes, I don't know. I clicked 2 buttons. I've never done this one before, so we're going to see.
Hello! It worked!
Hooray!
Okay, I'm going to try and find something to prop up the camera with so it's a bit higher up from cutting my head off.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, this might work.
Hi everybody joining. Thanks for joining.
Let's see if this works better. There we go. That's better.
I've been doing nothing but spinning for the last hour. I'm in Zen mode.
I literally just started. I was about 15 minutes early for the live, so I was like, okay, I'll just get plying.
Yeah.
I just started plying some stuff, but...
Nice. So how are you getting on? You got your
yeah, today was a busy day because I had Layla all day, so she wasn't at nursery, so it was busy Layla day, but it was good fun. And yeah, been doing all right. How you been getting on?
I'm dying of a cold, but I still went to work and everything, but I was home at like 12:30.
Okay.
So, but then I had to go back in because there was a student being assessed, so I was like, well, I'll just pop in for like an hour and just watch that assessment. And then I came home, made some cauliflower cheese, and then started spinning. So I'm onto like this really dark section of my braid. Yeah. So I'm like really glad that we're chatting because it's the most boring thing ever.
Well, I've finished 4 colours.
Pretty.
The lighting in his horrendous, by the way. I have really bad overhead lighting, but
this is your rainbow of colours from who was it again?
Ben Jones.
Ben Jones, yeah.
Yeah. So then I'm currently plying this green.
Lovely.
Yeah. I've got the basket. So I've done these 4. The green is the 5th one, and then this blue is the last one.
Oh,
it's really interesting. It's really interesting because this is the first time I'm properly spinning top.
Yeah.
And I've always spun bats I mean, I have spun top before, but never like a coloured with this much variegation.
Or like a blended top.
Yeah, like a blended top. So like this one you can see the different, I don't know how well you can see, but there's lots of white in there as well, like lots of variation of colour. But then it comes out so like
it comes out wild, doesn't it?
It comes out really cohesively coloured. Like the only one that came out really slightly different was this one, where you can see the white pops a bit more, where it was obviously picked up in the single a bit more frequently. Yeah. But this one in the top form actually had a lot more white in it anyway, so I was kind of expecting that.
So it's quite similar to something like this, I suppose. Yeah. My top, and then it came up. I use this as the demonstration skein. So really people, you had other people's beginning spinning in there, which is actually the cutest thing ever. But it's really interesting. It's like a marl, like a self marl.
Oh, I was going to say not so much self marl.
Yeah,
I was going to say the way the ones that mine have turned out have a lot more of a heathered look than I necessarily. I guess it makes sense because if you look, for example, like the John Arbin, like their Harvest Hues, there's a very heathered sort of But then also the Harvest Hues tops look a lot like these in terms of like you've got that variegated.
Yeah, and the Harvest Hues as well has that lovely. It has about 10% sport bliss, so it's got that black in it, which really gives a beautiful like undertone, and then it's got like a deep red, and then a couple of other different reds in on top of it. So nice. Well, actually, that's for most of them. Actually, I was working with. Oh, this is my red actually from the Harvest Hues.
Oh, is that the?
I found a little mini.
It's so cute.
That's the one I was using for the t-shirt that you posted.
Yeah, that's the pomegranate colour, isn't it?
Yeah. Pomegranate?
I've literally, it's called pomegranate. I have my shopping cart open on the shop.
I know, it's so good.
I've got a few things in there I need to place an order. But yeah.
So,
hello everyone who's joining.
Yeah, hello everybody. Tell us where you're joining from and...
Are you joining
spinning anything?
Are you spinning for the spin along? And I guess what else? If you have any questions for us as well, just let us know.
Yeah.
About anything, really. I don't mind.
Yeah, anything at all. I don't mind either.
Yeah. Actually, I need to keep flying, so.
Yeah, I know. So,
okay, this might be better, so I can still see the phone.
Oh, yeah. James has just arrived home. He's had a really long day, so.
Oh,
hey, Mars. Have you been watching Mars's vlogs?
Yeah, I've been watching them. They're really fun.
They're so nice.
Nice and peaceful.
I know. I'm in the middle of doing a tutorial for this. Why is this not spinning? Oh, sorry, 2 seconds. For like how to spin a gradient with in a 2-ply. But of course, it's taking me the entire time of actually spinning it, so it's taking forever.
You not have like a little, like a small sample of fibre that you could use?
I could, but actually no. The whole plan is to, I'm going to use all of it in a jumper. So I'm just going to do the whole thing. It's just going to take whatever time it takes, but that's fine.
It's fine.
People really wanted a tutorial, so
I'd be interested to see your take on it because I've done a few gradient spins, but I don't think I've ever really sat down to think about like a specific way of doing it. I just always try something different. So
there's a few different ways, there really is. Like you could spin the whole thing from beginning to end in the top because it's dyed. Like sometimes they're dyed like that. Like I chose ones that were dyed.
Yeah.
So you'd spin the whole thing beginning to end, and then you'd have to chain ply it to maintain the colors, right?
Yeah.
So my technique is, because I'm not great at chain plying, I have a little bumpy bump in, every time I join the 3 threads together. So I was like, so my technique is just splitting it in half as equally as I can, understanding that it's not going to be complete.
You're going to have overlaps where
you're going to have overlaps, and to be honest, that makes it kind of interesting. You can see them here.
Yeah, little minor bits of bubble polling, but it's quite cool. I quite like that.
They're really quite nice. So I'm enjoying that. And then I think they're basically... Now, the other way you could do it is to get a braid with lots of different colours all the way through. And you can also turn that into a gradient by separating out all your colours and choosing which gradient you want to do. So you could do it the same way. You could split all the colours into colour sections, weigh them, and then separate them as equally as possible. And then spin 2 together if you want to do a 2-ply, or spin just one colour after the other if you want to do 3-ply or a chain.
I've done I'm trying to think. So I had a set of mini bats that I spun as a gradient in the first way that you said. I spun all the singles end to end, and
is that the one that you were knitting your new shawl on?
No, this is the one that went from like a really dark, like black brown to orange gradient, like yellowy orange gradient. I did a video on it as well. It was a set of like mini bats. It was like 15 of them or something. It was a really big project. But then I ended up, because they were quite small, dense bats, rather than opening them up, I just used them like really big chunky bowlags and spun out the end of it. And then I chain plied the lot. I haven't noticed the bumpiness in my chain plying, but it definitely obviously comes out a lot thicker. And I feel like with my chain plying, I probably overply it a little bit. But it still turned out really well, and I was really happy with that skein of yarn. I actually ended up giving it to Mars as a little gift. So
I can see her little hearts there.
So now that lives with Mars, and but then the one that I did recently that I turned into the shawl, that was also a gradient that I did spin it end to end as a single, but I plied it with a white single.
Oh yeah!
Actually, I have the shawl here. I can show you. Let me just.
I saw it on I just watched one of your little travelling vlogs, and I saw it at the end of it.
But I have it finished with blocks and everything, so it actually looks how it's supposed to look now, which is...
Oh, pretty! Oh, you finished it and everything, of course.
Yeah! All finished and blocked.
Oh, gorgeous.
It's really
that was your 3-ply?
No, this is just a 2-ply. But this was One ply was
I see what you mean. You plied it with a
white. Yeah, because I didn't want to chain ply it because I didn't want to lose the yardage.
Yeah.
So that's how that's turned out.
That's a brilliant idea.
It's quite interesting because the top is the colour bit at the top is a lot lighter than obviously the purple at the bottom, and I specifically knit it in this direction because I think aesthetically it looks nicer to have the dark bottom.
I agree.
But it's interesting because obviously the white ply contrasts more with the darker colour than at the top, so it also adds another dimension there, which I wasn't. Which is obvious, but I hadn't thought about it. If that makes sense.
I know, yeah.
But,
no, it's really lovely.
You see it more in the bottom with the white.
And did you spin that single yourself, or did you ply? Is it a commercial yarn?
Oh no! I spun all of it.
You spun the white.
Oh, both. Yeah, the white is actually Polworth from John Arbin. It was part of the fibre I got from them from my mill membership. From the mill membership. Oh yeah. I'm going to have a little look. I think we got a few questions there. Yeah. Okay. I've been really bad at checking. I know we're just chatting. We're going to learn on a drop spindle. Absolutely. Eden Queen Bean. Totally learn on a drop spindle. I never did just because I know myself. I know drop spindle would drive me crazy. But that's just personal preference. Absolutely. So many people do amazing things with the drop spindle. Mars is using drop spindle. And I know a couple of people. There is the Urban Spinner in Dublin. She doesn't have space for a spinning wheel. She lives in a very small flat, and she does incredible stuff on spindles. Yeah, and also Lily, Nordic Stitches, she does amazing things on drop spindles as well. Yes. So she spins amazing yarn. Who is the girl that's doing the drop spindle tutorials? Oh, God. You with EWE. You sew you. She's posting some drop spindle tutorials on YouTube, and there are loads of drop spindle tutorials on YouTube. You just need to Google. I say Google it. Search for it. Yeah. Let's see. There was another question. Any advice for new spinners? Just take your time. Yeah, just practice. Take your time. Don't be too hard on yourself as well. It's not going to be perfect your first one. Just keep going. Doesn't everybody get the bumps with Navajo ply? You mean chain plying? I guess it depends. Like, depends how fussy you are. Yeah, it depends. I was going to say, I think it depends how fussy you are, because I personally, once the yarn is finished, I can't see it. Yeah. I can't feel it. But maybe that's also because I ply my yarn quite tightly when I'm chain plying. Yeah. I think if it was a looser ply, more loosely plied, I might be able to notice it more. I honestly think it's not true, but like, I think maybe the reason I chose 2-ply instead of 3-ply is when I spin a 3-ply, it comes out like a heavy DK worsted weight, and I actually wanted a sport weight. I wanted a lighter weight to go farther for a garment. So maybe that's what I actually meant. Because I'm trying to look for the bumps here on this 3-ply. Yeah, I really don't think you would notice it, especially after the yarn's been finished. I think it's more about maintaining yardage. Yeah. Especially if you're spinning for a garment, a 2-ply would get you obviously a lot further than a 3-ply would, whether it's a traditional 3-ply or a chain ply. Just logically speaking, you're either halving your yarn or you're like reducing it to a third. So you're saving a bit of yardage that way. So yeah. And I think it was like, who's saying? Oh yeah, Natalie. Sorry? Natalie from Rembrandt's Pottery. Yep, definitely save your white singles and ply it with a gradient, because I think it's a lot of fun. Yes. Makes you go so far. Yeah, some drop spindles. I mean, I started on a drop spindle and I lasted maybe a month, and then someone was good enough to like offer me to try on a wheel, and I was like, I'm never going back. Yeah. But I think it's like, it's a cheap way to figure out if it's something that you might be interested in. If you want to learn how to draft, you know, learn how twist works, learn how tension works without having to invest in a huge piece of equipment. Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And it was very much one of those, I was in a very fortunate situation with how I came about getting my wheel. Me too. So somebody literally just gave me a wheel. I was like, this is outrageous. Yeah. Yeah, so I was in a very fortunate situation. I mean, I always wanted to learn how to spin, and I was always interested in wheel spinning over drop spindling. I had tried drop spindling. It just wasn't something I knew I would hard on my shoulder, because I had to like... Yeah, and I also had back problems anyway, so doing that would just be too much for me. Yeah. But I the reason why I hadn't gotten a wheel until recently was because I didn't have space for a wheel.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't gotten a wheel when I did, I would probably be thinking about getting a wheel by around now anyway.
Yeah.
But my main hesitation would have been trying to find somewhere where I could try out some wheels before deciding what one to get. But like I said, my situation was very different, and I was really fortunate when I came about getting it. So, yeah, so there was that. So I truly understand that there's a lot of cost. It's very cost prohibitive for a lot of people, and probably would have been for me as well. So yeah, there is obviously that consideration. Drop spindling is totally a very accessible way of getting into spinning. Yeah. Someone suggested
apart from a wheel, Michelle asked Button Mouse 1.
Yes.
Apart from a wheel, what are must-have tools?
For spinning?
Yeah.
If you're trying to achieve a certain type of weight of yarn, like a thickness of yarn, I'd say a wraps per inch tool, something like reach for my wheel. Like this is quite helpful. This is from Hilltop Cloud, but it's just a little little thing that shows you different weights of yarn. So as you're spinning, you can check the thickness of your single or even your ply yarn to see that you're getting the weight that you want.
Mine's attached. I can't take it off.
Yeah, mine's attached to my wheel as well. I can't get it off. But it's quite handy.
This is a shop from Canada. Burning Impressions is the name. And I think she sells these. She's actually redone them to be a little bit smaller and thinner. So you don't have to use as much yarn to go around the whole thing.
And I think like my one, because it's just, you just lay it over the grooves. It's got grooves.
Yes,
Because I will be honest,
that one has that as well. It's kind of cut in.
Yeah, I will be honest, because once my yarn is finished, I don't want to undo the skein just to wrap it around a ruler to see what weight it is. I just want to lay it over. I just do a few sections throughout the skein to get a rough idea. Yeah, I'm not again, I'm not super fussy and super like that worried about it. Someone has suggested that Louise from Spin City's YouTube video on Park and Draft helped it click for her when she was learning. So that's a good one. Louise is fantastic.
She's very good. Normally what comes with your wheel, just going back to tools, is a lazy Kate. Sometimes it's actually on your wheel, but
I have one on my
you can actually make one as well out of chopsticks and a box or a basket with holes in it.
I did that before I had old straight knitting needles that I used. Yeah. And I was spinning on a hand spinner, so it wasn't a drop spinner, but it was a hand spinner, and then I'd wind the singles off onto empty toilet roll. Yeah. And then I'd put them on this and poke holes in a cardboard box and just had them lying like that.
And it just allows you to ply a little bit easier. Yeah. Well, definitely. It's the only way you can ply, really, to be honest.
Well, otherwise you're rolling them into balls and letting them fly around the floor while you're messy. Yellow button jar. I mean, you started spinning when I did yours. You make it look so easy. To be quite honest, it's just a lot of practice. I'm very fortunate. I had a lot of time to play around and practice. I work from home. I work for myself. I could afford to give myself a little bit of extra time during the day when I've been quite productive to be able to play on the wheel. And because knitting is now my job, like design is my job, so spinning has become like my non-thinking kind of stuff, and I'm always working on designs when I am knitting, which I absolutely love and I don't mind it, but it's nice to have something where I can just switch off and not really have to think. So that's quite nice.
Someone's asked, have either of you tried using an e-spinner? And I'm like, yes. I tried it at my retreat.
What happened with my video?
I think you just turned it around. Are you able to flip back around?
How do I flip it around?
It should be in the top left-hand corner.
There you go. It was bottom right.
Oh, bottom right for yourself. Well.
Oh, okay. Natalie says, I only have one spool. I think she means bobbin. So I unwind into balls and put each ball into a mug to ply.
Oh, well, you've plenty of those. You got an antique wheel, did you, Natalie? I wonder, would you be able to get, like, a wood turner to make you some more? I've got a friend of mine who has a couple of antique wheels, and she has a wood turner friend. God bless those wood turner friends. But if you're looking to make more, but if you're happy with the ball in mug technique, that's grand too.
Okay, so in terms of other tools, I'd say a niddy noddy is nice to have, but you can get away without one if necessary. But the lonely little Laura says, have either of you tried using an e-spinner? No, I haven't had the opportunity.
Yes. That's my next purchase. I cannot wait.
I like the idea of it. I like the idea of it. I think this, for now, I'm happy with the wheel.
I think I really want it because it's a space issue, but also it's kind of a, I don't know, I'm kind of getting into production, and I'm feeling that my wheel, I'm restricted a little bit with speed.
Okay.
And I want to go faster. And I tried it at my retreat, and one of the girls, actually two of the girls had theirs. One of them had like a small little electric EO, which is a 3D printed one. And then the other girl had the Ashford eSpinner 3.
Okay.
Beautiful machine to spin on, like so soft. I think e-spinners are fantastic for people, obviously, with mobility issues.
Yeah, people
and like fatigue issues.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. I kind of want it to generally just go faster.
Yeah, I mean, for me right now, I'm still on the middle ratio on my standard flyer. So I could still go down to the fastest ratio, and also that I could even step down to the lace. Flyer or lace bobbin.
Yeah, I'm restricted on my one at the moment, so it is a bit of a. Actually, I wonder.
I still have a fair few ratios I could go down on my wheel as it is, but I can see in the future that wanting to get a e-spinner would definitely be on the cards. Especially, I can see the appeal of having an e-spinner for plying.
Yes, for plying.
More so than for the singles necessarily. I was watching Bex's video on like her comparisons for e-spinners, and so I can see why people maybe prefer plying than necessarily for singles.
Actually, someone has asked a relevant question there. Can you explain plying, please?
Yes,
is single ply a lace weight?
So I'm going to forget to answer it.
Yeah. Is single ply a lace weight, she says. So plies, when it comes to commercial yarn, they're talking about the ply that a commercial mill is making, and they're set to a very fine gauge, and then what they do is they add loads of plies together to make the weight that you're looking for. So they're always going to be the same width. So one ply is normally like a cobweb weight, or like you need 2 plies to make up a lace weight yarn. That's why lace weight yarn is sometimes called a 2-ply. And then you need to double that to make a fingering weight. That's why a fingering weight yarn is sometimes called a 4-ply. So it's when you're talking about a commercial yarn, plies have more to do with the way the size of the ply that the mill makes. Now that can be adjusted a few different times, but generally there's a kind of an idea, especially in like Australia and the UK, that they call 2-ply lace weight and 4-ply fingering weight.
Yeah.
Everywhere else is DK then traditionally would be like an 8-ply.
And there's 12-ply or 10-ply for a worsted or something?
10-ply for a worsted and 12-ply for an Aran weight. Now, what we're spinning is our own hands, so we're never going to get down that small. But when this is called a single that I'm spinning a single from this fluff. Now, what Mina's doing is she's got 2 singles, and she is twisting them together to make a 2-ply?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she is plying. She is putting the 2 plies together, so she's actually creating a balanced yarn by spinning back in the other direction. So I am spinning in a clockwise direction, so I'm spinning the wheel this way. Is that how you spin your singles as well, Mina?
Yeah, so I'm plying counterclockwise.
Plying then in the opposite direction. So you have 2 spindles, two
bobbins.
Bobbins, there we go. 2 bobbins. Where's my other one? Anyway, you get the idea. 2 bobbins, and they are both spun in a clockwise direction. And then when Mina is popping them together, she's got a 3rd bobbin.
Yep.
And she is plying them both together in a counterclockwise direction. So what she's doing is she's locking in those 2 plies so they don't unravel. And also she is balancing out the twist from both of the other, both of the ply. It makes a more solid, balanced yarn. It lasts longer.
The other thing I was going to say was you can spin your singles to be as thick or as thin as you want. And nowadays, even commercially, they can do that as well. Like you can get a 2-ply sock yarn, or which is high twist or something, or you can get a 2-ply DK weight. Like it doesn't necessarily have the same meaning anymore in that regard.
Yeah.
But
more of a traditional term, I think.
The Farm Girl Fibre says pattern recommendations for hand spun. Does it look better with stockinette or texture? Well, first off, there's the Andrea Marie Shift range of patterns that work really well for hand spun. And also, I think, to be quite honest, pretty much any pattern can be knit out of hand spun. You just have to have the right yardage and average weight to be able to knit it. Like, for example, the shawl I showed earlier, this one, is knit out of my own hand spun, and it's going to be a design that I publish later. But you can knit this out of hand spun or out of commercial yarn. Like, it doesn't have to be out of hand spun. But I think hand spun works really well in stockinette, in garter, this top bit here. In simple textures, like there's a texture pattern here. It took me a bit of trial and error to find a texture that I thought wouldn't be too hidden in the hand spun.
It's really nice.
But it's a very subtle, it's very simple, but you know.
Is it a lace or a kind of a garter thing?
It's not, it's a stockinette based texture, but it's not lace. It just gives a lace feel because of, it does form what looks like eyelets, but you're not making eyelets. It's just kind of the way the stitches worked. It kind of leaves a little hole there, but that's fine. But that's what I mean. Like, it's a very simple texture, I would suggest. Nothing that's overly intricate, overly lacy. I mean, obviously it depends on your hand spun as well. If you have a very solid yarn, then you can really do whatever you want. But if you have a more textured yarn or a more like color variated, that's not even a word, varying color in your yarn, then you might want to go something a little bit simpler. I guess it's more a case of like, you know, what would you knit with a solid yarn versus what would you knit with a variegated yarn in general. You can use hand spun for anything. You can. You really can. It's just fun. You can use it for whatever you want, really.
Depends on the hand spun you make as well. I mean, I know lots of people who make art yarn. So that looks really, really good in like a simple pattern. Just because the yarn is so crazy, like it's got loads of different textures. Like a simple
towel or something. Someone just let the yarn shine.
Exactly.
The other thing I was going to say, also shawls that are adaptable, where you can adjust how much you knit each section or overall how long you knit it for, something like that, or any sort of like asymmetrical shawl shape as well is really good for hand spun, because those you basically just go until you have like X grams left, and then you could just bind off. Even with this one, I kept going with the border, which is just a ribbing. I just kept going until I had like a tiny little scrap left. I have it somewhere in the pile behind me, but I literally had like 4 grams left over at the end, so it was not much. Yeah.
You're still do you need to let the yarn rest before plying? I think you're supposed to, but I'm always too impatient, so I'm like, Grr!
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I let it rest if I finish spinning the singles and it's really late and I need to go to bed.
And I'm like, I'm leaving it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily notice a difference. Hi, Chelsea.
There she is.
Was it Laura? Lol, Grace is going to get an e-spinner and be pumping out hand spun like Mina cranks out songs.
Mina's already cranking out more hand spun than I am, lads. Calm down. You'll always win.
Electric wheels also convenient for traveling.
Yes, that's what I was going to say, actually. I'm planning on, well, eventually, this is my dream, to get a little camper van. So that's why I really want an e-spinner. Just to have it on the dashboard, and you can plug it into the electric, you know, the cigarette lighter thing. Ooh. I'm like, I want it so bad.
That's cute.
So cute.
Seeing, where's the other question? Sorry, my phone is slipping.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's not you. Let me see.
So Mark has given lots of advice. That's good.
Loosely or tightly plied will affect how texture shows. True.
Yeah. Do you spin long draw, or have you any tips on that? So, have you tried long draw, Mina?
Yes, yes, I have. I'm not the best spinner in that I tend to just like, especially if I'm just playing around trying to see what works, I flip between different types of like drafting styles. So sometimes in one bobbin I'll be going from short forward to short backward to supported long draw to something in between.
It's like whatever my body wants to do. If my arm is getting sore, I'll be like, oh, I'm just going to stretch it out by doing a bit of long draw.
Yeah. And I have actually I did do a little experiment on some fibre a while back. I'm not sure if I did a separate video for it, but I definitely talked about it on the podcast or during Vlogmas, where I took a braid of fibre and I split it down the middle. I mean, it was just a solid sort of colour anyway. It was a green, and I spun one half of the braid worsted draft, like short forward.
Oh, yeah.
And I did the other half, I did mostly long draw. There are certain times when I'm starting to spin or when I'm joining fibre, I find it easier to do the first little bit short forward just to get going, and then I switch to long draw. But I've never done true long draw where you don't use one hand to support the fibre. I've always done a supported long draw. I think that's mainly a confidence thing and also an experience thing. I think once you get more experience, that kind of happens a bit more easily. And also I wasn't spinning on, I was still spinning on like my slowest ratio at that point, so learning. But I think now if I did it, I would probably try, I would probably still do it supported long draw because I feel more confident doing it that way. But I have tried.
I think just a little point actually, just so people are aware, some people might not know what long draw is.
Yeah, sorry.
So long draw is, it's called a woolen type of spinning. A way of drafting. And what it is basically, I'm doing a supported because I can't do the long draw either. So it's basically you're pulling it back, you're allowing the twist into here, and you're pulling it back slowly, 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 slowly. And then you let it go on then. So basically the twist goes into your fibre supply, capturing more air, and that's what's known as a woolen draft. And now what I'm doing, which is automatically what I do with my hands, is a kind of a short forward draw, I think. I'm drawing the fibre forward and then I'm smoothing it out. So that makes a kind of a smoother, denser, thicker, not thicker, smoother, denser yarn. I'm smoothing out the air. There's not got as much air in there, so it's not as poofy.
You'll find sometimes with a more woolen spun yarn that you'll have, you'll get more yardage essentially than the same style, same weight of yarn in like a worsted style spin, just because of that extra poof and air stretches out the fibre further.
Yeah. So Adventures in Knitting says, is spinning on a drop spindle all short draw? I get confused. I don't think you can do long draw on a spindle.
No, but I guess it's
the weight of it.
I guess it's also somewhere between a woolen and a worsted. I don't really know because I guess I haven't really spun on a drop spindle too much, but I'm not sure.
So the difference between woolen and worsted is when the twist gets into your fibre supply. So if the twist goes into your fibre supply without you controlling it, so it traps more air. So sometimes when I'm spinning with a spindle, you'll get like a semi-woolen, you know, where the air is kind of grabbed, but you're never going to get a long draw. So it is a short draw. Sorry, you're a control freak. Oh, sorry, Sana Cabrinwood. Sorry, that's terrible. I'm a control freak, so I struggle with it because you have to let go. That's it. Yeah, you do have to let go a little bit, and that's why kind of being a supported. I don't know who doesn't do it supported though, because you have to stop the twist running up and allow more fibre in. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
No, I think what they mean by supported is like the bit where you're drawing out, like, because if I'm drawing it out, I'll use my hand here to stop the twist going in, so then I can pull the fibres apart if there's like a thick bit for me. And that's the bit that is supported.
That's true.
But then
someone has just said actually you can do. Oh yeah, so she said actually you are correct, Sanika Bruna Wood. You said you can do long draw on a supported spindle. You can definitely do long draw on a supported spindle. A supported spindle is one that you have on the ground and it's just spinning away in a little bowl,
Yeah.
and you often spin off the tip, so it's not actually being pulled on. So you can do long draw on a supported spindle. You're right. Anything that you spin off the tip, that's long draw. Yeah. But if it's a drop spindle, that's what I was talking about. A drop spindle, yeah. And actually, I'd say your Bosworth. Your no, that wouldn't be. You have to prep it first, don't you? You have to draft that first and then spin it.
I just got to the end of my plying thing and I was winding off like the extra bit. I literally have like maybe a meter on one part versus the other.
Oh, glorious.
That never happened to me before.
Oh,
I didn't even have
happened to me.
I was starting to do like an Andean plying brace. So I got like 2 wraps around my hand and I was done.
Nice.
I was like, what?
So
Sorry.
beautiful.
It's really
Congratulations, everybody. Congratulations. Well done, Mina. That never happens.
That wasn't what I was just, it was a moment. I was
Oh, that's so funny. So Siobhan, made by Voss, says, I think I'm overspinning sections on my spindle. Is that going to make it harder to ply? You're wanting a 2-ply in the end. Actually, you were going to be plying it counterclockwise. So some of that overspun section is going to relax out. Don't worry too much about that over plying at the start. It's going to happen. It's going to be fine. But also the plying solves a lot of single problems.
Yeah.
Don't worry too much about that. The plying will fix everything.
I'll wind off my yarn. I also don't let my plied yarn rest. I just wind it right off.
Oh, me too. No, I sometimes do leave it, but mostly when I'm going to bed.
Yeah, again, it's usually if I'm just too tired to do it at the time.
Yeah, no, totally.
I'm going to wind it off.
So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about the spin and make along.
Yes, we have some exciting news.
Yes!
I was driving home this afternoon, got an email pop up on my phone from the lovely Sonia, John Albin.
Yeah, I love Sonia. Yeah, so you got the email first, and then you text me and you were like, did you see the email? I was like, no.
I noticed the email first, but she emailed later. But yeah, so the lovely people at John Albin have offered a wonderful, wonderful prize for the spin and make along. So I'm guessing this is going to be a prize for the spinning portion, considering the prize is fibre.
Yes.
And so they are offering 500 grams of any other Harvest Cheese colourways in top form as a prize for the spinning portion. So that's amazing.
It's incredible. Such an incredible prize. 500 grams. That will do you for anything you want to make. Like
a garment for most people. A
garment for most people is correct. Yeah. A
garment for most people. It depends on the garment and size and all of that, and how you spin. So
actually, yeah. If you wanted to do like a DK weight.
Yeah, a DK weight for me, it wouldn't be enough.
No.
I need about 600 or 700 grams of a regular DK weight skein for thing for me.
But if you were trying to spin if you wanted a, it's definitely enough to play with. I was wondering whether Sonia would, is it going to be one color or a couple of colors, like 100 grams of some color, like, that'd be nice as well.
I don't know, I imagine you could pick and choose.
I imagine you could.
Just from the Harvest Hues range.
Naturally. 500 grams of John Arbon Harvest Hues. These are the colors that I am absolutely in love with. I have 2 little minis of my previous Harvest Hues.
That's the Woad.
That's Woad, and it's this beautiful. So it's Zvortlis and something else. I think there's a mix of like a Devon.
There's some BFL in there, I think.
Maybe a Devon Down or Devon Horn or something. I'm not sure.
I have a look and see. I can let me just have a quick check while we're chatting.
Oh yeah. So this is the pomegranate colorway, which is a gorgeous red. It's a bit fluffy now. So actually, you can so it's a great demonstration because this is the difference between worsted preparation and a woolen preparation.
Woolen prep or spin, you mean?
Both. I suppose woolen yarn and then worsted yarn.
So worsted yarn's a bit smoother.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Harvest Hues is 65% organically farmed Falklands Merino and 35% swapless.
25%, nice.
35.
Oh, 35. Wow, lovely. Oh,
so there's a couple of quick questions on here. Lily Nordic Stitches, she says, I've only ever spun on a drop spindle and started Navajo plying. Will Navajo chain plying be easier and break less on a wheel? How often it breaks actually depends on the structure of your single.
Yeah.
I found when I chain ply, I don't actually have any issues of breaking unless I feel like unless I get to a weak point or a very thin spot in my yarn where sometimes it breaks. But having never done it on a spindle, I can't really say if it's easier or not.
I've done it on a spindle, and just because of the weight of the drop spindle, I would say that it does tend to break it a little bit more. But I mean, it's totally right. If you've got a nice strong single with a lot of twist in it, it's fine. It's fine.
I actually watched a video by her name's Amanda from Classy Squid Fibre Company.
Oh, I've heard of her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's done a video on her YouTube channel on how to do a chain ply, and that's where she mentions that about the strength of your singles being important.
It's true. Yeah.
If you've got well plied singles, then well spun singles, then it shouldn't break when you're chain plying. But that's about a wheel. I don't know. I'd say
there is still a pull on the wheel, so I'd say it actually all depends on your singles. So I agree with that. Yeah. That is an amazing prize. I bet a short sleeve sweater or crop sweater can be made from that much fibre. Absolutely.
Yes.
Definitely.
There was another question further back. Someone was asking, I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Farm Girl Fibers. She says, so how can I tell if I'm over or underplying the singles? Was that the one that you answered? Was that what you
No, I didn't answer that.
Different. Under or over, you mean spinning? Under or over twisting the singles?
So if you're under twisting your singles, it'll fall apart. So it'll fly off, and it'll pull out of your hands. Also, if you're going back and if you're plying it and you come to kind of a part where it's underspun, that will separate as well. But you can just attach it in and just keep going. If you're over twisting it, you'll end up getting these kind of pigtails in the yarn. Often what happens is, I always say that fibre and thread, especially when you're spinning it at this stage, it's like a river of water. So the water will always go to the lowest point. It'll always fall down into that lowest point and create like a waterfall. So this, I don't know if you can see this now. I should have a clear white thing behind me. But if you can see, if you can see here, this is pigtailing just here. And this is actually the thinnest part of your single. So the twist will always go towards the thinnest part of your single. And if you have a huge amount of those, loads of little pigtaily bits, you're probably over twisted. And also you can tell by looking and feeling at the single that it's almost wiry, ropey. So you're looking for something that's holding together, but that's not wiry and too pigtaily. Now you will get pigtails in all singles, and you will get pigtails when you have it plied as well.
I get it.
Just the amount of them, and if the whole skein just like clumps up into a giant bouncy mess, like it looks like a spring at the end, you're very, very over twisted. But with finishing it, with soaking it and hanging it, that will, settle out, and you'll end up with a really strong yarn, whatever you're making. That'd be great for socks.
Yeah. Hi, Josie.
Who's the Josie? Hi. So I hope that's answered any questions. If there's any more, please do keep asking.
Yeah. Oh, I dropped my phone.
You dropped your phone, I saw.
Yeah. Josie was just asking what happened. I just dropped my phone.
Oh, I see. Earthquake. So this, actually, for an example, right? This was slightly overspun. I say slightly, it was actually very overspun on purpose. because I do want this, whatever it is, to make it to, what's the word, to be a strong thing, whatever I'm making. So if you have a look here, this is after it's been wet, dried, everything. It's actually hanging in a perfect circle now. Whereas before, if it was a bit overspun, it was turning about 3 times, and it had kind of sprung up.
Yeah.
I have a photo on my Instagram if people want to go see, but yeah. So with soaking it out, like, it really all comes out in the wash. It really does.
Sometimes you really want it to be a little bit overspun, especially if you're spinning for something like socks, or there's something that you want to be really hard wearing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
more twist is always better than less twist.
Yeah.
My girls are loving your accent. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Josie. Yeah, I am full of cold. I'm dying. I'm looking for extra sympathy, please. Thank you very much. But spinning always makes me feel better, so. Oh, Mina. Her signal might be dropping out. Or my signal. It could be me.
Sorry.
Okay, we're back. We're back with business.
Yeah, low battery thing up, so I'm going to have to try and figure out a way to plug this in a minute.
Yeah. Where's Mr. Beans? That's a good question. I think Mr. Beans is upstairs with James. James has had a really long day. He's driving all over the place. He had to...
I realised I did what I did at the with the soccer-thon with Perry. I didn't tell him what we were doing. I didn't tell him about the spin-along or anything. Like, I just started on Monday. I didn't even talk to him about it. Because I tend not to talk to Perry too much about, like, knitting and stuff, just because I know it's not super interesting for him. And it got to early this evening, and I asked him if he could put Layla down for bed, because normally I would do it tonight. And because I knew I was doing this in case it ran late or whatever. Yeah. And then and I was like, have I even told you what I'm doing? He was like, no, I'm doing this spinning thing with Grace, and then we're doing this live on Instagram. And he was just like, huh. So I had to, like, quickly explain to him. It wasn't but it was more just, I realised I haven't actually told you about any of this. Yeah. So I give a quick rundown about what we're doing and what the SMAL is. And
I don't think I told James at all.
Yeah, well, it's only because we were doing this tonight that I knew with, like, our evening, essentially, that I realised I hadn't told him. But thankfully, it's not as invasive in our lives as the soccer-thon was. So
no. It's not like a massive competition.
No. Bloody hell, no. Never doing that again. That was it was interesting and an experience.
That was
I want to repeat.
Fascinating to watch. Like, fascinating.
Sorry, I'm just going to be a bit quiet for a second while I count.
No worries, no worries. So I did that for the first time ever, actually. I had my niddy noddy out and I started counting. And what I actually did for this one, I'm so proud of myself. I washed it, dried it, and then I re-niddy noddied it. And then I counted it. So because after you wash and dry your skein of yarn, there is a bit of shrinkage that happens. So when you wind it off immediately after spinning it, you're not going to get the exactly accurate. What I generally do is, if I can't be bothered to wash it and dry it and reskein it and count it again, is just, like, take a few meters off, like take 10 meters off the final total. And I'm like, after I'll have extra if I'm still...
Well, you know what I do? This was something that a few people told me, because I asked about this when I first started spinning, and I was like, how do I know what my final finished yardage is? I've measured it on the niddy noddy. How do I know what it is without rescaling it? Because I didn't want to go through that every time I spin a skein.
It's such a pain in the...
So what they said to me was, just lay it out on the table and go around it with a tape measure, and that's your new circumference, and just multiply that by your wraps.
Oh my god, that's so smart.
I know, it's so, like, even I was just like, how did I not think of that?
See? Oh, no. Ridiculous. What a waste of an evening. Oh, well, no, I did it right, okay? You're all lazy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, now I've lost count, so I have to start again. It's okay.
You're right, Sanika. What's your first name, Sanika? Yeah, so I'm just spinning away here now. I feel myself getting thinner and thinner on the, and I'm trying not to go too thin on my singles, because the thinner you go, the longer it takes to spin a braid, or to spin whatever you're doing. Yeah, okay. So I don't want to go too thin, because some people go so, like, they become so proficient or whatever that they go really, 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 really thin on the ply, but then that means that you've got to spin. It takes you much longer, and I don't want to do that. So I think my default ply at the moment is a lace weight, and I want to keep it at that, because I can just double that and get a thick fingering sport weight yarn, and then I can triple it and get a worsted weight. So it's kind of handy. It's a handy single to have. When I count strands, I use removable stitch markers and make bundles of 25 or 50 strands. That is genius.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. I'm going to do that now because I keep losing count.
That is genius.
Thank you so much. Who suggested
Z-Zicious?
Thank you so much. I'm doing that now because I keep losing count listening to Grace. Not your fault, but
we're not going to be that totally silent.
What you're saying.
We could do ASMR. Let's just watch the video. Let's just watch this. You can also use a counted cross from weaving. I don't know what that means.
I love the stitch marker idea. It's perfect.
So smart. I'm going to do that from now on. Absolutely. You're a genius, Cecius. Cecius. Oh, excuse me. I've got my lemon tea over here. I'm just going to drink all of it. And I wonder, is Natalie still around? Because I'm drinking out of her beautiful mug. Natalie. You have a 1 and 5-year-old get interrupted a lot. Oh, yeah, definitely. You know what? Genius for time-saving hacks. Yay! I love your mug. I haven't used my real mug yet. I feel scared to use my logo mug. I really should, but it's just so perfect. When you warp indirectly, you can use a cotton thread to count the warp threads. So you tie them in, the same idea as stitch markers. I think I actually have seen that, Sanika. No, you're right, I have seen that. I haven't got a warping board yet, because I just use random things around the house. So doorknobs and posts. So I just do direct warping. It is nice, isn't it? Evening, ladies. I have a question about painted braids. I'm intending to spin my first ever painted braid, and I'm worried the dye might run when I come to soak it. I have found... Hi, Terry! I have found that, yes, the dye does run quite often, especially when you're dealing with a blue dyed braid, which I use a lot. And I do... or red, a fuchsia as well. Is this generally a problem? If so, is there anything you can do to avoid it? Yes, I think you can soak for a very short amount of time.
Don't use a scented wool wash.
Don't use a scented wool wash, absolutely. I actually don't. I use a little bit of conditioner, or just don't, like washing up liquid as well sometimes.
Okay. I actually most of the time don't put anything.
Actually, yeah, no, yeah. Sometimes I don't. It just needs some water. It's not dirty.
It depends on the fibre as well. Sometimes the fibre does need a bit of soap, but more often than not, it's fine. Yeah, yeah. Maybe a colour catcher in the basin. That might help if you're really worried. I often find though, like with the colour running, if it's plied in with like a white, you lose a little bit, like, but it'll all be complementary because you're spinning the colors together anyway. Yeah. For me, it doesn't bother me too much. Like this one here, the blue and the white, kind like. Sorry, I just need to plug my phone in.
No worries, it's fine. I really think that I did have a little bit of blue come out in this because it is really hard to rinse fibre because you're at a risk of felting it when you're dyeing it. So you will get a little bit of blue in the water, especially blue. I mean, blue is just the beast. But when it came out, it wasn't a big deal. Like this, the white fibre has a little tinge of blue, but because it's plied next to the blue, it still looks white, you know. So I think it's something that we have to again let go of.
Yeah.
That thing with hand spun yarn, it's
okay. So she says she's intending on doing a fractal, and there's some white undyed in between the colours, and she really wants to keep it.
You see, I think it will still look white. Oh, sorry. It will still look very white.
It'll look white compared to the rest of the colours.
In comparison.
It might not be a true white anymore, but
yeah. You know, a colour catcher could be a good idea. Pop it in, and not using a scented wool wash, and just leaving it in the soak for the very small amount of time, like 10 minutes. Wash it out. You know, try again. You know,
or put it in, and if you see if it's really, you put it in, and if you see the colour starting to run straight away, just pull it out.
Pull it straight out.
And do it again, sort of thing. Do that a couple of times, maybe.
Yeah. Hi. Oh, hi, Kirsty. Hi, Joanna. How are you? Yeah.
I'd be a little bit antisocial and turn around and use my door handle to twist the skein.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine.
Give me a second.
Did you see my little video on the drill that my dad hooked up for me?
Yes, I did.
Well,
that's genius.
Oh my god! Like, but I need to wind like 200 skeins of yarn.
Well, I was going to say it's different. You're
I can't do it. So excited to start spinning your harvest use that came today. What color did you get, Adventure Knitting? What color did you get? Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Hey, was that like the sycamore one or the new leaf? I think you got new leaf.
Yeah.
I think I need to make one of those drills. Very simple. You just need to bend a hook or get a hook with a long bit like that you can stick into the actual drill and use the box. Just drill through the box. Genius. Dad was looking for like something. Oh, I'm going to make a thing to hold it all together. I was like, the box. The box. It was
already designed to hold the drill.
I was like, it's already there. Why are you reinventing the wheel? He's like, you're so smart. I was like, I'm my father's daughter.
Giving him more credit.
Oh yeah. You have to keep him sweet. Yay! So you just finished the green. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty.
Sorry.
Jubilee clip on the trigger. What does that mean? Oh, for the drill, is it? I don't need it to like be on all the time, you know. I don't know what a Jubilee clip. A dough hook from a food mixer could work in the drill. It could, but it wouldn't work in the box. The box has a couple of inches distance between the start of the head and the outside of it. A dough hook generally only has like a small little inch or so to slot in. But it could work.
It depends if the drill would even take the dough hook.
That's true. It's quite a large gap, so you'd have to have something. I wonder if the mixer would do the job, would it? Like, you need to have it on. You need the hook down. Well, you could definitely try. I've seen it happen, I think. Yes, to maintain the same speed. Oh, you don't need the same speed. I'm just like, vroom, vroom, vroom. Is that okay? Okay. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Okay. I'm not too fussy.
I'm not sure why, but I just pulled off around a bit. Trying to drop it. We dropped it, and I just decided to pull it off. Why not?
Why?
That's just alright, whatever. We're going with it. Getting a bit warmer here. This thing's not even on. So let's see. What else we got?
Any questions for anybody new that's come in? Concrete mixer attachment for a drill is longer but the same shape. Yeah, a concrete mixer would totally work. Actually, I've seen that. I think I have seen that. Yes, that would totally work if you have one lying around. The chuck should be able to take quite a thick rod. Yeah, it should. Depends. Excuse me.
Hi, Marina.
Oh, hi, Marina. How are you?
I'm fine. Sorry. The problem is I'm having to prop it up, but my charger goes into the bottom of my phone, so it's like balancing on like the tiny little charger bit.
You use the top of your Swift and twist the skein. Oh, so smart. How often do you oil your wheels?
I'm really bad at that. I just oiled it a little because I usually spin with headphones on, so a lot of the time I don't hear if it's like.
We just got cut off because we were talking for over an hour about spinning, so yay! I am looking for, somebody was asking about what's the word? Words. Hi. Welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back. Oh, hi Eve. How are you? Hi Siobhan. It's good to know. I'm waiting for Mina to come back. Hi Jess, how are you? All the best lives have to be restarted after an hour. See, that's it. It's classic. Oh yeah. Oh, there she is. And I'd say, oh, yep, there it is. Go live with new Expat.
Hello. Hi. Sorry, I thought I did something to exit the live.
No.
I've never done this before, so I had
normally it gives me a little countdown, and I'm like, oh, we've got 45 seconds left, but
I had no idea. I was like, oh no, what have I done? I thought I'd done something wrong.
No. So I was just going to give people a little tip actually about oiling their wheel. Sometimes people have very expensive oil, but I use sewing machine oil.
I wasn't sure what kind of oil I was supposed to use, so I actually got an Ashford little oil.
So you get a teeny little bit for like £5 or something.
Something like
this
that,
is around £2.
Oh, it's nice.
It's 125 mils. It's Singer sewing machine oil. It's perfect.
That's the thing, like, because I had no idea what kind of oil I need to use. I was looking for like a specific oil for my specific wheel. I'm sure it's not that complicated.
It's it needs to be like a fine machine part oil. So sewing machine is perfect, and it's everywhere. It's in all the sewing machine shops, and you can get it on eBay, not eBay, Amazon, and everything. So it's a handy one. Now, the only thing about it is it doesn't have that nice little narrow kind of applicator.
Yeah.
That the Ashford one has, but like I find a drop, it's fine.
Well, I guess what I'll do now is I'll just keep the bottle and just refill it.
Great idea.
I've barely used any of it, and I feel like I've oiled the wheel a few times. Okay, so what we got here?
Okay, great.
The Disabled Makers says, missed the first live, my notifications are shite. By the way, have a look at the John Arbor Mill members page. Yes, we were talking about that. And if you did miss the first live, one of the prizes, the big prize that we have for the spinning portion of the Makealong is 500 grams of top from their Harvest Cheese collection from John Arbor Textiles. So,
which is amazing.
Which is amazing. And we're both huge fans of John Arbor.
Massive. I love them.
And then Adventures in Knitting. Do you have any first wheel recommendations, please? I'm saving up to move on from my drop spindle. We were having a conversation about this with someone else recently, and both of us were saying, well, we've only ever spun, or I have anyway. I know Grace has spun on other wheels, but I've only ever spun on my Kromsky Sonata. I would hands down recommend it as a first wheel. It is quite an expensive wheel, but if you're buying it new, but if you can find one second hand, I would highly recommend this as a first wheel. And I think you have similar experience with yours.
Yeah, I love my, I've got an Ashford Traveller. So this is my Ashford Traveller, which is a lovely little wheel. It's a double treadle, which makes it really easy to keep the wheel going. It makes sense for me. A lot of traditional wheels have only one treadle. So that makes a bit of a difference. But like I said, it depends. Like, my experience is limited to this wheel. So, and I know that I learned on this wheel, so it's the wheel I prefer. Now, I have actually dealt with this question quite a lot, and I've got some advice. I would actually get involved with, depending on where you are, There are lots of groups on Ravelry which deal with wheels, second-hand wheels, trading wheels, things like that. There's oh gosh, my friend Liz is fantastic. She has a massive resource of them. Ashford wheels are generally quite common around, especially around Europe, Australia. There are some in America as well. And generally they go second hand for around between 150 euros to 300 euros for a traditional wheel.
Compared to buying a new wheel.
Exactly. Now, the only thing is that you have to kind of know what you're buying and know that it's not been turned into what's called a spinning wheel shaped object, which is kind of what basically people get them secondhand from like a what's the word, like a vintage shop or like a sale in an auction site or something, and they buy them for the front of their shop window or for a prop, or sometimes they're turned into lamps and things. So you have to make sure that you've got your flyer is separate and it moves, and you've got your orifice. So the wheel could spin around and they'll be like, oh yeah, it works. But if it doesn't have an orifice and if it doesn't have a moving flyer, like sometimes these flyers have little hooks on them, meaning you have hooks on yours. If those are missing, like that's fine. You can get more hooks, that's fine. But it has to move. It has to have a couple of bobbins and it has to have an orifice. If the wheel does not move, if it doesn't have a flyer, it's not a spinning wheel. You have to have that. Really good page to go to is... oh, I can't remember the name of it, but I will actually, on my Ravelry page for the SMAL, I'll actually link a couple of pages for buying your first spinning wheel. They're really fantastic groups on Ravelry. They put up, like, there's antique spinning wheels where you put up a picture of something that you're thinking of buying, say, like in the buy and sell or Gumtree or whatever, and they will tell you, yes, it's a good deal, or terrible, stay away from it. So they're really generous with their time. If you want to buy new and you don't want to spend, I think this is about 700 euros, 800 euros maybe, to buy it new. If you don't want to spend that much, I can really recommend a wheel called the Woolmaker's Bliss. It's from the Louet. It's a sister company of the Louet spinning wheels, and they're in Holland or the Netherlands. Same thing. But that is a really, really lovely wheel. It's not as traditional looking as our wheels. It's made out of plywood. It's made kind of big scale, so it can be cheaper. And it's about 300 euros, 350 euros, including all your shipping, and everything is included in that. And you actually get quite a number of ratios, and it's a really good deal for anyone thinking of not wanting to spend like, you know, 700 euros on a wheel. Maybe you could afford 350 and then sell that on when you want to like move on from there.
I just wanted to say a quick hi, Sarah. Sarah's my really good friend who's also an amazing spinner. And she says an Ashford Kiwi's an awesome first wheel and inexpensive compared to other wheels.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. Someone was saying, actually, just right at the start, how long have you both been spinning?
You start first.
I've been spinning about, oh God, I don't know, 3 years, maybe 3 years. Yeah. There we go.
I dabbled with spinning, I guess. I got a hand spinner about 3 summers ago. About 3 summers ago. And played around with that for a few weeks before I pretty much put it away and haven't really touched it since. And then I was in a very fortunate situation where I got this Kromsky Sonata at the end of October last year. So I've basically been spinning since then. And I sort of fell down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people, actually one of the girls in my local spinning group got her Kromsky Minstrel as her first wheel, and she loves it. Really beautiful. Yeah.
Everyone I've heard who've had a Kromsky or has a Kromsky has loved it.
Loved it, yeah.
They're nice beautiful wheels. They are beautiful. And some of the higher in the range ones are really stunning. They're beautiful looking wheels.
Actually, Eve from the Disabled Makers group, she says, keep an eye on Gumtree and eBay. I got my Kromsky Minstrel for £190 from Gumtree.
Whoa!
Like, honestly, keep an eye.
Some people like inherit these things and they don't know what they have.
Yeah. See, they're in attics, you know, their mother or their grandmother or someone has died, or they just want to get rid of it, you know, and they don't know what they've got, and they're like, oh my god. So, the Lendrum, I've seen Lendrums, they're so pretty. You've got a Bliss and a Luette S70. Yeah, I've seen those and I've worked with those, they're lovely. The Guild, so yeah, another option is guilds. So the Guild hires them for €5. It was £5 a month, so you can try different wheels before you buy one. That's a really great option if you've got a local guild that does that. In our guild, in the Irish Guild, we've got 2 different wheels. We've got the, oh gosh, what is it? I think it's the Luette Victoria, which is a little folding wheel, which is great for people taking it on the bus and stuff. And then we've also got an Ashford Kiwi, which is part of the guild wheel. We're not a very big guild, so we don't have that many options, but it is a really nice option to try different types. So check out the guild in your local area and see what they have, because they are worth their weight in gold. Yeah, there's loads of guilds all over the UK. Very, very good. Thank you, everybody. I'm trying to get to a guild meeting that doesn't clash with what the kids are doing. Yeah, that's tricky. Oh, sorry. That was me. I'm just double checking what everyone else has said. Oh, Terry, I am really sick. Yes. Someone asked, Zeshus was asking, how do you oil the wood on metal areas? I've been using oil, but read that you should put oil on the wood parts. I just put oil anywhere. No harm.
I put oil on everything. I put the oil on
any moving parts.
Any of the moving parts, and obviously the hinges on the treadle. Sometimes people forget about that. I was trying to figure out where the squeaking noise was coming from for a long time on my wheel until I realised it was the pedals. Yeah. The treadles, I mean. The hinges on the treadle. Oh, also, if you're... so the footman is the... On my wheel, anyway, is the wooden bits that join the treadle, the pedals, the treadling board thingies to the wheel thingy. This makes no sense whatsoever. But I was having trouble where one of my footmen was slipping all the time. And then it got to a point where I couldn't spin on the wheel, like it wasn't working. So I contacted Krosky, and it turns out there's a little screw that holds the footman on the bit it's supposed to be on. And my screw had fallen out. So they sent me a replacement and that fixed it. It was perfectly fine. So if you have any screws and stuff on your wheel, make sure they're tightened frequently.
Yes, yes.
That was a long
roundabout way. Like bits aren't wobbling and things like that. So Mars was asking, have you talked about the SMAL setup already? Actually, there was a question just before that. Actually, we've just answered that, Loopy Natastic, so I want you to go back and have a little look at that. She's asking what's a good wheel for a beginner again. So we've just talked about that for about 20 minutes, so you'll get loads of information from that. Have you talked about the SMAL setup already? We haven't talked about it in this one.
No, we didn't really talk about it properly either in the
first
one. We kind of just talked briefly that that's what we were doing. We didn't really go into detail about it.
And
so the SMAL was actually born out of an idea that I had after I'd spun some Rolags, and I really liked the yarn that I got from it. And then I got my fibre share package, which had some fibre in it that the colours matched with the yarn that I'd already spun. And I thought, oh, this would be really fun to turn into a sweater spin. And so then I bought a couple of other braids of fibre, so I'd have about 500 grams in total to spin up into a sweater for myself. And I thought it'd be really fun to do kind of like a spin along thing with other people to kind of maybe encourage others who might want to spin for a sweater or some other big project. And then I was thinking about it a bit more, and I thought, well, why does it doesn't have to be for a big project. It could be for anything, because I didn't want to exclude newbie spinners or people who only spin on spindles but don't necessarily want to spin for a sweater or anything like that. I wanted to be as inclusive as possible. And so then when we were at Edinburgh, I asked Grace if she wanted to go in on this like make along with me, and at the time I didn't have a really good name for it. And then it was actually Elise from My Two Tips podcast who suggested the spin and make along as the name, because you're not limited to just knitting with your hand spun. You can knit, crochet, weave, whatever you want with it. So so yeah, that's where that came from. And then we decided the spinning portion would run until the end of July to incorporate Tour de Fleece. And then the knitting, or the making portion rather, I should say, will run until like the end of November. So there again, yeah, a little bit of a longer time. Just wanted to give people enough time to both spin and then work up whatever project they want to make out of their handspun.
So the rules are that you have to be a part of
both our groups.
Yeah, our Ravelry groups. So the Knitting Expat podcast and the Babbles Traveling Yarns podcast groups. Whips are allowed, as you know, as long as like at your own discretion. Like, you know, if you're just about to finish a handspun project, like, no. But you know, but I know a couple of people have started spinning their own yarn from my Makealong last year, and they've kind of lost steam on it. And I was like, perfect, you know, pick it up again, we'll finish it off, you know. For people who don't spin, there's also the making section. You can hop in, but you do have to use handspun from somewhere. So you can buy some, you can use some that's gifted to you. I've got a discussion thread in my Ravelry group of different shops that sell handspun yarn if you're having trouble finding it. But literally go on to Etsy or just look up handspun yarn for sale on the internet and you'll find it.
I'm also planning on posting a giveaway.
Oh, yes.
Fun in this box. I would show it now, but honestly, you wouldn't be able to see the colours properly. So I'll show it on a podcast. Yeah. But I have a bunch of handspun in this box. Some is mine, some is stuff I've traded for, some is like just gifts and stuff I've done swaps with people. So there's a few different things in there that I'm planning on doing a giveaway probably in a month or two, closer to July, to specifically for people who don't spin but want to take part in the Makealong portion. So like,
it's a great idea.
Spread the love a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it. I've got someone asking me a very pertinent question I need to answer. So Austrian Lady Creations has asked, do you know if there are people that teach spinning near Galway? Just moved here from the US. Yes, me. I teach spinning. I taught my first class in the Irish Fibre Crafters space in Ardrahan in County Galway. And there are spinning classes going on over the summer. It's a fantastic workspace. You should definitely pop in. Look up Irish Fibre Crafters immediately. It's perfectly suited to put where you are. Do it.
And then, Mars is saying I'll sponsor a handspun giveaway for 2 braids. Oh, thank you, Mars. That's so sweet. She says she'll be in touch. And then Someone So Beautiful by Nicola says, I need to get my head around Ravelry groups. Well, my Ravelry group is actually linked in my Instagram profile. So if you're having trouble finding it, you can go through that, through my Instagram profile, and you can find a link directly to the Ravelry group that way. I'm not sure if you have a link in your profile, Grace.
I do. I need to do that linksy thing again, but it's underneath my. It's in all. Well, it's in pretty much all of my podcast notes.
Oh yeah, it's also
underneath all of my podcasts on YouTube. You can head over there.
Yeah, it's also descriptions.
Sonica has asked, did you spin any luxury fibres like Angora, cashmere, or camel? This is a camel. This is baby camel something cashmere, and this is adult camel or other camel, I'm not sure. But this is one of the luxury blends, and it was, this is alpaca and camel, I think. Alpaca and baby camel. I found alpaca, the camel's very short. It's a very short fiber. Well, the baby camel anyway. So it needed something to be blended with it to spin in, because otherwise it would just rip out of my hands, you know. I also tried spinning a luxury thing. It was a baby yak and silk, and it was actually a nightmare to spin. I only spun a tiny bit because the 2 fiber lengths were so different.
Let's say silk is so long compared to something like yak.
Yeah, so I actually gave the bag to my friend. Beautiful thing, and she's a more determined spinner than me. And I think I did it as well at a kind of a. I was too early on in my spinning journey, and I probably could do it now. but I was just impatient with it, and you just need to figure out your wheel. Every fibre that you try on your wheel will change. Like, all of the adjustments on your wheel need to change for every different fibre that you use. If they're short staple, you need higher twist. If they're longer staple, you need less twist. And you need to learn how to draft them all differently. So every different fibre type is a different learning experience.
Yeah. I've not spun specifically with any luxury fibres like that yet. I've spun some Rolags that have had some luxury fibres in there. I think one's had like was it either Angora or something like that, and it's something like one of those luxury fibres. I have spun stuff that's got like alpaca mixed in or baby llama, but I'm not sure if those count as luxury fibres anymore because they're a lot more common these days than they used to be.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think anything that's not wool really is counted. Wool or cotton, you know. Probably alpaca is less than that.
Okay. So Disabled Makers says yak and silk would be great spun over the fold.
Yeah, I think definitely that's how I would do it now. Definitely. Yeah.
But there again, that's something that comes with experience, doesn't it? And trial and error.
Yeah, that's it.
On my wheel challenge. Oh wow, she's working on cotton.
What's that?
That Highland Hope Knit says she's working on cotton on her wheel, which is challenging but fun.
Really high twist because the fibres are so short. I've got a charka, a small little book charka, and it's spinning from the tip, and it's long draw. But it works really well because it's what it's built for. That wheel has really, really high, it spins really fast because it's got a little accelerator wheel. So the ratio is like 1 to 90 or something. It's crazy. So, yeah.
So, Sanika says, good to know because I was thinking of blending silk into my camel merino blend, but we'll stay out of that for now. I think actually if your camel's already blended with merino, you'll be fine because merino silk is a really nice blend to spin. Yeah. So I think you'll actually be okay with that. I think Grace was talking about it was just plain, it was just camel straight with silk that was difficult.
Yeah.
And then Zosie Mosley says, what's your favourite plant-based fibre to spin? I think that's probably more aimed at you, Grace, because I've not really spun with plant fibres.
Yeah, I have spun with cotton, I've spun with flax. I really enjoyed flax, actually. Once I got into the swing of it, and once I understood that you do need twist, and you need to wet your fingers, and you need to like glue the fibres together as it's spinning. It was just so satisfying to actually spin flax. Like, I don't know, it just felt really nice. So more cellulose-based fibres, they're a bit harder to spin, and they're very slippy. There's nothing really to grip them together. And some of the fibres can be quite short. So like mint fibres, rose fibres, all those have been basically melted down, like boiled, and then broken down into their individual cellulose parts, and then extruded and formed into fibres as a raw kind of almost like acrylic is made. But of course they're plant-based, so they do biodegrade easier than acrylic does. So they're quite, they can be actually, it depends on it depends on the quality, about how, but they don't have that like the grippiness of wool has. So I haven't spun enough with the cellulose fibres like mint, rose, soybean, to get a proper kind of skill level. Now I have spun with banana fibre, and that was very slippy. It was blended in with merino, which is the best thing. I think a blend is really, really good for when you're learning how to do it. Now I have a whole advent calendar of all these different fibres, and I can't wait to get cracking into them, although I think I am a little bit scared, so that's why I haven't been doing it. But I really liked spinning flax, and I really liked spinning cotton from little ponies off the tip. I think there's specific techniques for every different plant fibre, and I think once you get the hang of it, I think it's all really good.
Yeah. The Marissa Dawn Designs, she says, I have a poodle and want to blend her fur into something to spin. That would be quite fun.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. How, Marissa, how long is her staple length? How long is the hair? Are the hairs? That depends. That will tell me a little bit more and see. I think if blending it in with merino or any other wool would be perfect.
Yeah.
I've seen some people spin like straight, like my friend My friend Bernadine, she spins Labrador hair because she does a lot of work with the Irish Guide Dogs for the Blind. And so what she does is after the family have kind of trained a puppy for a year, she takes some of their fur, spins it, and then knits a little heart and frames it as a thank you. It's the cutest thing ever. But I don't think it's easy.
No.
I didn't use a distaff to spin my flax. What did I do? A distaff would have been handy. I didn't have the long strands of flax. I had short strands, so the strands were only about this long. They weren't like a meter long. So I had like flax top.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Sally because today I kind of stalked our goats at work to see if their undercoat is spinnable.
Totally. You could totally spin anything if you try hard enough.
I keep joking with Perry that I'm going to collect the cat's fur and spin it because they give
got tiny beans Rolex
fluff. Seriously?
Yeah. Because I got a little, brusher thinger. Majigger. Okay, I'm going to get them now, see if I have them. It's so gross. I love it. It's weird. His hair is so long. These are little beans Rolex. Oh. I could totally spin these. This is so gross. I'm sorry, everybody. But they're so cute.
I think you should, and then just knit a little swatch.
Oh my god, yes. A little heart, a little Christmas tree
ornament.
Yeah!
A bit of beans on your tree.
Oh. You love it. You would try and eat it.
Text Alert. She says, can you tell me if I can make a single out of a mystery fibre that I think is alpaca and ply it with a single that I know is wool? Would that work? Yeah. There's no reason why that wouldn't work.
If you think it's alpaca, the only difference is the alpaca is drapey. So, but if it's spun with wool, you will get a little bit of a bounce. It'll drape a little bit more than 100% wool, two ply. But you'll get a little bit of it. It'll be interesting.
It'll be fine. I don't see a reason why that wouldn't work. You can always do a little sample and see how it turns out.
Yeah. My next live is spinning my little Rolex. Yeah, definitely. Good evening, friends. I spin my cat hair. She's a Persian and very soft. Oh, yes. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine spinning a Persian is a lot easier than spinning beans.
Yeah. Or Kiko and Derek. They have they're not short hair.
The thing is, they're not short hair, but they're also not long-haired cats either. No. But their hair's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches long, so it's not any dissimilar to mohair, really.
Yeah,
not mohair,
I think it's about there as well.
Yeah. But there's just not as much crimp, obviously, in their hair. So.
Yeah. Textile tee? Oh, yeah, definitely. If you want to make a shawl out of mystery alpaca, definitely. It'll be lovely.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I tried Shetland. And I also tried Shetland pony. I work at a petting zoo. Lots of interesting subjects for experimenting.
Awesome!
That's so cute. Oh, speaking of petting zoos, we went to so many different parks and playgrounds and petting zoos whilst we were traveling recently.
Yeah.
Layla's just obsessed with all the animals. It was amazing.
Oh, so cute.
It is. Sorry, that was a bit random tangent.
There's actually, speaking of petting zoos again, there's a place that I go to spin every summer called Craganoan. I've done a couple of vlogs there. It's a beautiful place. It's like a heritage, Irish heritage place. They've got people dress up and we bring our spinning wheels and spin in the castle. That's really cute. But they've got these sheep outside which look like goats, but they're actually really primitive breed of sheep. I can't remember if they're actually called Soe. I think they're Soe.
Yeah, Soe.
Yeah, so they're the ones, they've got horns and they actually molt their fleece.
Yeah.
So you don't shear it. So basically the farmer goes around and collects it all for the ladies that work at Craganoan, and then they spin the yarn and make weaving out of it to show people. It's really cool.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
So, Scripno, she said, Mina, your cat's a particular breed. Yes, my cats are Scottish Folds. But the way Scottish Folds are bred, they're not, it's funny because in a lot of countries, their breed is not recognized as an actual breed because of the way you need to breed them for them to stay healthy. So it's a bit complicated. The Scottish Fold, they have these folded ears, which is why they're called that. And they originated from Scotland hence the name. But the fold is actually a genetic defect. So in order for your cat to be healthy, you can't breed a folded cat with a folded cat, because then you're compounding the genetic defect and it causes a whole host of other health problems. So you always breed a folded cat with a non-folded cat of another breed. So essentially they're always a mix, and then the kittens have a 50-50 chance of having folded ears or not. So our boys were both folded ears. We don't actually know their pedigree in terms of what they were bred with, but we were told that they were just a short hair. But they are not as short as like a British short hair or any other sort of typical short hair like tabby cat that you would think of. But they're also not long hair like a Persian or a ragdoll cat that you would think of either. So they're kind of somewhere in between. And their fur is actually two-toned. It's very interesting. Like half their hair,
lovely.
Half their hair is whatever the colour is that you see. So Hugo's actually a very dark grey, and Derek is almost black. But then the other half, like closer to their skin, is on Hugo, it's basically white or a very light grey, and on Derek it's like a mid-grey. It's very strange, because when they molt, the hair looks white on like whatever fabric it's on, but on them it looks really dark. So it's very interesting. I should like share some photos if it isn't such a at some point. But yeah, so they have slightly longer fur than you would expect for a short-haired cat. Yeah, sorry. Random tangent there about cat.
Oh, that's fine. Cat Golden has those Soe sheep. Yeah, oh yeah, I've seen a couple of them around. They're beautiful sheep, lovely. You do demonstrations as well. I love doing demonstrations, but I'm getting a bit over the kids jumping on my wheel situation. Do you have that, Seneca? Because, but yeah, now I've just become more strict and ask, where are your parents? Please do not break my very expensive wheel.
Well, just like hold them back. Like, don't let them. Like, it seems a bit odd that they would let their kids do that. Oh
yeah. No. It's like the kids are running around and they're like, go look at her, she's looming or whatever. I've had so many funny things. And she's like, look, and then they'll come right up and almost like clank, like hold on to it, and I'm like, oh please don't. And then the mum's like, what are you doing? And like not stopping her child from literally almost breaking his arm. I'm like,
just make a sign and stick it on your wheel saying, please do not touch.
Please do
not touch while in motion if you want to keep your fingers.
Yeah, but most of these kids, like, they'd be like 2 or 3 running around.
But
you know,
like for the parents.
For the parents, yeah. Oh,
like, I put it on there saying, please do not touch.
You're not allowed to touch it. Do you remember Sleeping Beauty? She went to sleep for 100 years. And with this wheel, you'd actually lose the fingers as well. So, you know.
Yeah.
And actually, it's more the parents who are more interested in how it actually works than the kids. The kids just want to see the wheel go around.
Yeah, Layla's like that. She'll come in and she'll point to the wheel, and what she does now is she's like, Mummy, you're not going fast enough. So she puts her foot on top of my foot so I pedal faster.
Yeah.
So faster, Mummy, faster.
Yeah, that's it. She just wants to make it go faster. Yeah, a barrier would be handy.
Touch it when it's moving though. Like I've like not yelled at her, but I've like been quite stern with her a couple of times when she's gone to touch it while I'm spinning, and so she now knows
she needs a bit of ear, you know, when it's, you know, a machine that could move. So
yeah,
you're willing to pay. Yeah. Absolutely. A barrier is a good idea. I want to weave a rope and just have it set up around me.
I like the idea of putting a sign on saying the wheel costs this much. Unless you're willing to pay it, don't let your kids touch it.
Yes, absolutely. But it is nice to it is a lovely thing to have. I was thinking about going to there's a castle up the road, Bunratty Castle, and they have like lots of little houses. Like old style houses, and I would love to set up in there with the fire. And in some of the houses they have like bread making, and they make butter in another house, and I'm like, I could set up and dress up in old style and spin my own yarn and have a barrier, and I could be like spinning away. I'd love that. So weird. I love it. Your son will stand on the pedals between my feet and help you treadle. Yeah.
Thank you.
See, that's your son, that's your wheel, you can do that, but random strangers, you think that you're a babysitting service, different.
It's one child versus a horde of random people's children.
Yeah.
But also when it's your own child, you can tell them off. You can tell them to stop. You know, you can't discipline a random person's child. Alright, so that's one bobbin done.
Mars, if only I could get paid to do that. That'd be really nice.
Which is not weird.
Not weird, but a great callback to history. Yeah. I'm like, nah, I should be paid to do it. Heaven. The light's going. Okay. Bonus of the e-spinner. Yeah, the e-spinner. No one would be able to touch it, but I don't think you could demonstrate on an e-spinner. You know, the special historical stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure it has quite the same.
Not exactly.
Feel to it.
What else are we going to talk about? Oh,
the main things, which is the main. We'll probably do this again in a couple of weeks.
I've gone through half of what I had before, so that's great.
Awesome. I've done half of my fibre too just now.
Sweet.
So these were 20-gram bumps.
Oh, they're only 20 grams. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think I've got about 50 grams on each of these yolks. I think.
Okay.
If I didn't weigh them really bad. Oh well.
Yeah. No. So I just spun the single for 120-gram bump thingy. And I obviously applied the previous one, which was about 40 grams.
Yeah. Mars says, for beginnings, plying is good wheel practice. I got my wheel about 2 months after I started spinning on my drop spindle. And the first thing I did was ply all the stuff on my drop spindle because I didn't have a clue how to ply on a drop spindle.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah, definitely. What am I spinning? Eve, I'm spinning... I'm spinning fibre from Irish Fairy Tale yarns. It's I don't think this is 100 grams. This isn't Cheviot. No way. That's Cheviot maybe. This is a merino. I think this is a merino, definitely. It's not a Cheviot. I actually can't tell. I don't think this is Cheviot. I think they're wrong. Anyway. Yeah, I'm spinning a gradient. So it starts blue, this bright blue. Then it moves into a white. And then there is a little bit of a purple, kind of red burgundy, and then black. And then I'm going to spin this one, which starts off with the blue again. This light is awful. Starts off with the blue, then moves to a purple, and then a brown. And I've already spun up this one, which started off with a blue, then moved to a light tan, and then to a dark brown. Terrible lighting, sorry. And I'm going to knit with 3 yarns together, starting with blue and then gradient down into like browns and blacks. And then at the end, at the bottom of the garment or the sleeves, I'm going to have this purple. Which
that'd be lovely.
Is a terrible colour representation. But anyway, that's my plan.
So Mars has a good question. She says, any fibre types, breed or blend that you keep going back to over and over, and why?
Polwarth or Corriedale?
I love Polwarth. I absolutely love, and Rambouillet.
And Rambouillet is amazing.
And Polwarth are so bouncy and so much fun to spin. Oh, and then actually, I found as a beginner, and this might be slightly controversial, I found merino silk or anything blended with silk actually a really good fibre. Really good like Shetland silk was one of my earlier like fibres that I started spinning with, and I actually really enjoyed it because the silk actually helps. I found I was able to spin finer with the silk blended in because of that longer staple.
Yeah, yeah.
And I felt it gave me more confidence. I felt less like the fibre was going to run away with me. So
interesting.
I actually found that really comfortable to spin earlier on, and even now, like a merino silk blend or something blended with silk, I find almost to be like a comfortable spin, if that makes sense. Like it feels easy to spin, and it's some of my most consistent spinning is with something blended with silk in it.
Do you know, I don't think I've actually spun anything with silk in it. I don't know why.
A lot of things seem to come blended with silk, so
yeah,
I've ended up with stuff.
I actually got some Wingham Woolworks. I got about a kilo of BFL in silk.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So I need to dye it, but it would be gorgeous.
Yeah.
Sanika agrees, yeah. Targi is beautiful. I spun, that's the one, my green and brown fractal spun jumper was an American blend, but it felt like a Targi. It was really bouncy. It just wanted to spin itself almost. It was
Yeah,
really
I'd say
good.
Targi is very reminiscent of Rambouillet.
Yeah, bouncy.
Of how the fibre feels, because I have a little sample of Targi that actually Mars gave me, and feeling it, squishing it, feels a lot like Polworth. Sorry, like Rambouillet.
Yeah.
In terms of how squishy and bouncy the fibre feels before you've spun it.
A big bag of ZRules. ZRules is beautiful. It is a thicker micron, so it's not like going to be super soft like the alpaca that Natalie's talking about. She said she started out with a really good alpaca and loved it because it's so soft before your fingers are used to it. It's so soft. But ZRules has a really long staple and it's really strong and it's beautiful. The colour, like that chocolatey black, it's really nice. Phone dying, see you later, bye. And you live near Wigham and it's terrible as you migrate there often. Oh my god. I don't think I would be able to do anything without if I lived close to it.
I'd find a job there or something. Just have an excuse.
Yeah, some excuse, absolutely. I need to... Supposed to be in bed. Cheeky way to make a woolen wish list. All right. Any fibre type breeder blend that you keep going back to? Oh yeah, by the way. Speaking of gradients, Eve from Disabled Maker says, "Ooh, speaking of gradients, I got into the HTC Never Ending Gradient Club. What's that? I want to know more about that." Maddie Creative Me asked me, how am I going to ply it? I'm just going to do a plain old 2-ply. I split the fibre in half, so hopefully that's going to work. Oh, Jenny, hi, lovely. Oh, Mars just bought some of your yarn. I think it just arrived. She got some of your Polworth, she was saying.
Fibre, not yarn.
Pardon? Oh, yeah, fibre. Sorry. Yeah. She just got Polworth from Alabart Yarn, so we're talking about you. Hey, did you release Cartref tonight? I think you did. I think Alabart Yarn and Pins and Needles released the Cartref. I think that's tonight. So yay!
Oh, fun!
I think that was. They've got that new kind of Welsh breed. Yeah, lovely. Hilltop Cloud, no spaces left. They go in about 20 minutes. Oh my gosh, yeah. You see, yay! I really want to join a fibre club, but I know that I need to spin up what I have for. I'm kind of scared. I was going to join the Hello Yarn Fibre Club, but just the shipping here is just so expensive. I
really would love to join Hilltop Cloud, the Gradient Fibre Club, but I know that's the one that sells out. It's got like a waiting list or something.
Yeah, definitely. I'll just have to try and dye it myself, but it's so much better when someone else dyes it.
Okay, so we should have our own little mini fibre club. You basically dye the fibre for me.
I'm gonna have to learn. Yeah.
I'm joking. I was joking.
I'll do it if you pay me. It's fine.
I'll pay you. Of course I'll pay you.
Yeah. This purple, like this black is really interesting. It's got purple through it, you know?
That's cool.
So it's going to be interesting how this plies up. I've never actually knit with black before. But here we are.
Is it meant to be, is it actually black or is it just black in that light?
No, it's actually black. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Like black and grey bits, you know, because it doesn't penetrate all the way through. But only, it pretty much is black.
But it's meant to be dyed black.
It's dyed. I feel like this is one that's going to need to be maybe washed with a colour catcher. Almost all black acid dyes have a purple base. You are right. Yeah. I have noticed that. So it just broke in the... I love it. So the dye actually just broke in the the dye process. Lovely. Excuse me. It's different dyeing fibre compared to... Is it different dyeing fibre compared to yarn? I'm scared to felt it. Yes, it is different. You need to use more dye to get the same effect, to penetrate the yarn. It needs to be, it's trickier. it tends to soak and spread like way easier. You almost need to have it on a flat surface and paint it. Felting it is definitely possible if you put it in and then move it around too much. Definitely. That's why I think heat setting it or steaming it is the best way to dye yarn. Like having a special dye microwave, and you lay out loads of cling film on the ground, on the table, this stuff. And I don't know why I have it, but it's right beside me. You lay it out, and then you lay out your yarn, and then you dye that yarn, and then roll up a cling film, and then roll it into like a little bowl, and put it into your microwave, and set it for like 5-10 minutes, and then it should be okay. Rinse it out, but just basically by emptying it into a pot of cold water, and then just chucking it on the dryer in the spin dryer, and then leaving it. Don't move it too much.
Just to clarify, you mean fibre, not, you keep saying yarn, but
yes,
just to clarify, you
mean yarn, but I mean fibre. Thank you.
Yes.
See, this is so useful having someone else on here. Because the comments are like, the corrections are often way later after because there's a little delay in them. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, and then I finish, and then all the comments come through, and I'm like, damn, I could be on to something else.
Oh, I call the rolls unicorn turds.
Love it. Love it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep breathing deeply because my nose is blocked. So I feel like I'm sighing a lot, but it's just, if I'm talking too much, I need to breathe. Apparently I've managed to switch my personal account. Yeah, I saw that, Eve. Now,
do you like fleece prep?
Do you like fleece prep? I do not like fleece prep.
I don't.
It has to be done. But I have ignored it for approximately 1 year, so.
Get on it, guys. I don't have a fleece to prep, and I don't really have the space or inclination to want to prep a fleece.
They will arrive now. You've said it.
I don't mind the idea of learning how to prep a fleece, but the thing is, I have
take 200 grams. Do not take a whole fleece. Just 200 grams
or whatever. But my point is, like, I don't even have any tools to prep a fleece other than obviously the tub to wash. I can wash the fleece and do that side of it, but I have nothing to. I don't even have hand cards. I have nothing to actually prep the fibre to be able to then spin it.
Hand cards are surprisingly expensive as well. Like, they're like €70 for a set from Wing and Woolworths to buy them new. You know.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't have the tools and I don't have the space. I mean, realistically, if I want to get into fibre prep and stuff, I'd be more interested in getting something like a blending board or a drum carder. I'm less inclined to want to go so far back to doing the fleece prep. I kind of want to start the next stage in with like the prep fibre. Yeah. I mean, to prep the fibre, not to like wash and degrease the fleece and all that. Yeah. I have 3 fleeces. I have a ZRules fleece, I have a Romney fleece, and I think I have a BFL that just did not work out. The BFL is actually really fine, and it just, I just couldn't get it clean, so I just gave up. There's a couple of questions now. Evie, hi! Loves my necklace. Thanks, that is Yarnistry. Do either of you plan for a weight of yarn when spinning, i.e. a 3-ply worsted weight, or do you just spin and see what you get? So I think the point of this cal for me was to kind of have an intentional spinning for a specific project. I started spinning without knowing what project I was going for, but knowing what type of yarn I wanted. I wanted a high twist, fingering weight, sport weight yarn, which is generally my default. Spinning, I love spinning, and I don't want to have to concentrate too much, so it's kind of a spinning and see what I get, and then whatever works after that. Does that make any sense? I think it was Jess who was asking that, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jess.
Yeah. So for me, when I first started spinning, it was very much a spin and see what I get, because I had no idea like how to like try and achieve something. It was more just learning the motions. But then, and then I started experimenting with different types of drafting and plying and all that sort of stuff, just again to see how everything felt. I find like my standard sort of, if I'm not trying too hard to do anything in particular, my standard is like Grace, like a fingering sport weight, sometimes the sport DK, just depending on how I'm doing at the time, the fibre. And then for a 2-ply. And then I've only ever done a chain. Sorry, stupid phone. I've only ever done a chain ply 3-ply. I've never done a traditional 3-ply because my laser Kate only has 2 things on it. And my chain plies usually come out quite thick, usually around anywhere from a DK to an Aran is kind of the range that I end up with my 3-plies. So I guess now looking at it, I'd be like, okay, if I want more yardage and a finer yarn, I would spin for a 2-ply, and if I wanted a heavier yarn, I would spin like a chain ply. But then every now and again, I will do what I call like just a quick spin, like a palette cleanser spin, and those ones I'll take like a 100-gram braid or whatever I have that I want to do, and I will purposefully try and spin a heavier weight of yarn just to get that practice in, to try and spin thicker yarn, because it's not, like Ray said, as you get more and more proficient, you tend to spin thinner and thinner, and it's actually harder to go back and spin thicker yarn. So every now and again I make the effort to actually try and spin thicker yarn to try and balance that out, so I don't just continuously get thinner and thinner without being able to go back and do something a bit heavier if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But it does take more thought to do that.
It does, yeah.
But it's quick.
Yeah.
But it's a nice quick spin, so.
So Jenny from All About Yarn says, I've never felt the inclination to prep fleece from scratch. I'm much happier getting my nice clean tops. I don't blame you. And then Sanika says, although combing is relaxing, if you have an entire fleece, it can be very overwhelming. Yes, I can speak to that. I just totally ignored my knitting obligations and then spun my entire lunch break. Thanks, ladies. You're trying to figure out how to plan. I think get to know your default, because it's the most comfortable. You'll spin the most on your default like thread or your single, and then work on how you want to ply that. So if you've got quite a thick single, and you're if you're at the start of your beginning journey, maybe you could think about leaving it as a single and maybe fulling it and using that. If your single is already like a fingering weight or an Aran weight or whatever, maybe try that as a single and see what you come up with. Like you can make a little headband or a hat to start out with. And then as you do more, you will actually learn how to spin thinner and thinner and thinner. And then you'll kind of settle on your default, and then how you ply it and how you're going to add it together to add more thickness kind of helps decide where you go from there, I think, personally. Yeah. That's how I work.
So yeah, I try and figure out. I know I want to. I'm spinning right now for a shawl, but like in terms of the sweater spin that I'm planning, well, I've already spun one skein, so I know that I'm trying to achieve a similar weight to that.
Yeah.
Whether or not that actually happens, we will see. I'm not that proficient at spinning yet, so
who's great for that?
It's more just having an idea of what you want to try and achieve, and then if it doesn't work out, don't beat yourself up about it either, because it's all a learning process. It's for fun.
You know who's great for like very good technical spinning is Welford Pearls, the Welford Pearls podcast, and Tiny Fibre Studio. Yeah, excellent. They would be. I think we're kind of still learning seat of our pants spinners. So
we're not like massively. Well, I'm not anyway. I'm not massively concerned about the technical aspects of my spinning. Yeah. I don't keep little samples. I don't track all of that side of things. I keep notes on what I've done, but I'm not super detailed about it.
I feel like I'm not either. I'm definitely not, and I don't even know if I did have a sample that I would be able to stick to it, because I always just go back to my default. So Twisted Dye Kitchen says, how do you gauge the pattern to the spun yarn? So I find out at the end how much yarn I have, how much yardage I have, and then I go from the yardage I have.
Yeah.
On the
one approximate weight.
Yeah, the approximate weight by checking it along a number of different strands. So you'd pick a load of different ones and check the weight. using a WPI tool, or a wraps per inch tool, or one of these like cute little counter things, which I have just figured out how to take off. Great. So this little tool here has little grooves, which I've dropped. Ugh. So if I'm measuring right now, okay, so I'm just laying it into the grooves there. And this is it's fitting into the lace weight groove. Sorry, you probably can't see that. It's fitting right into that lace weight groove really easily. So that my single is approximately a lace weight. Now I'd measure that a couple of times all the way down, like as I'm, I can pick it off. And then if I'm looking at this, this is my 2-ply, doing around the same, with the same type of fiber. So this fits into the sport weight groove.
Yeah. So
then you're able to weigh your yarn and like see how much, if it's a if it's a sport weight, you're able to weigh your yarn, see this is 100 grams. If it's sport weight, then I should have about 250, 300 meters of fiber in there, or of yarn in there. See, I'm saying fiber now when I mean yarn. Can't decide. Yeah.
So Marissa Dawn Design says, Mina, do you like the lazy Kate attached to your wheel? I don't mind it. It's a great one to learn from. I do want to get a separate, like a lazy Kate, so I can put it behind me, because I feel like that would be a much more ergonomical way of applying. Because at the moment, I feel like I have to pull the singles towards me to then feed it back into the wheel, just because of where the lazy Kate is attached. But I don't find it like to be a hindrance or difficult. I just think ergonomically speaking, it'd be better coming from the back.
It's really handy when you're traveling and demoing and stuff to have the lazy Kate just right there. Another thing about having the lazy Kate separate is that if you have it at a distance from behind you, it allows the twist to start settling out. If you've got a high twist at some point and a low twist at another point, if you've got it coming from your lazy Kate to your wheel to where you're plying it together, it allows the twist to start settling out a little bit more. Okay. So it's better for the final yarn. Although I find that if there's too much of a distance, they sometimes get tangled together if there's big and stuff. Wrecks my head. So I think that's when you need something called like a tensy tamer or a tension. I wrap it around. I've got hooks at the bottom of mine, little hooks, and what I do is I wrap the singles around them twice. Okay. And I let it come through, and there's just a little bit of tension that straightens out that thread and helps me avoid them getting tangled coming from the nice cool. That I've just figured out, like literally just now. It's like, what have I been doing? Think quick and dirty. To Di's kitchen. Oh, I love working with the fleece, but space and equipment is a consideration. Yes, it is. Katie from Hilltop Cloud has videos on her website too. Hi! Maybe spin for scrappy projects that you can build up as you go. I actually am so glad you said that, because I did a little mitered square blanket out of all of my first skeins.
That's awesome.
So this was like, I was testing out self-striping. This was a 3-ply self-striping kind of bit that I started. This was some marling. I'm sorry about the terrible light, but I can't do anything about it. But it's actually Beans' little cushion now. So it's so cute. So that's a really handy little thing to just throw in all your scraps. This was the first ever yarn that I ever spun. So
that's amazing.
It was merino that I washed, because it was a bag of merino. Nightmare looking back on it now, but it's so white and soft, like it's unbelievable. But it was merino. I was spinning it on a drop spindle, and then I plied it on my wheel. So sweet. Oh, adorable. Now, a kerchief to a shawlette to a shawl to a wearable blanket. You are genius, actually, Mart. That's a brilliant idea. I'm hoping to spin enough for the night shift shawl, Bumble Stitches says. That's a great project. Yeah, lovely.
Do you own and use a Diz? No.
No. I don't have combs, so I don't Diz anything. I think you can make a diz out of anything that has a hole in the middle. You can use a button or anything with a hole. It's just something with a hole, a rock with a hole in it.
Oh dear, Jess. She's like, being able to move the lazy Kate away from kitty paws is rather useful. Ask me how I know.
Yes.
I will be honest, I'm really lucky. The cats are not bothered or even interested in my wheel or something or fibre.
I have to say, Beans and the lazy Kate have this obsession love-hate relationship. He is obsessed with it. So, but he will basically like he'll stare at it for a good half an hour before he makes his move. So I can see when he's going to go for it. So at least I can stop him.
Yeah.
Can confirm. Helps keep the singles away from feline friends. Hi guys, so we've just finished off our, I feel like we're probably coming to the end. We've been online for 2 hours. I think that's probably enough time. But I'll just wait for maybe Mina to come back on, and we might say goodbye and finish off just by mentioning the Cal again. Not Cal, Mal, Makealong. So, how are you guys doing? We have already done 2 spin-alongs already. If you have missed it, if you're coming to this another time, I'm going to try and save it, but to figure out how to do that. If not, I think we're going to probably do a few more of these as the spin along goes on. Hi, Mina. We've been on here for 2 hours, so I think I was saying we should probably sign off and let each other.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yes. Sounds like a good idea.
But it's been so lovely talking to you and everybody.
Yeah, it's been really good. We should do this again.
Yeah. So I was saying that we probably will do this a couple of times. And yeah, for the spinning section, and yeah, so I don't want to lose my voice because I'm going spinning again tomorrow. Floor.
I was gonna say, yeah, I've got a busy weekend as well. We're babysitting our nephew tomorrow, so we're gonna have 2 little ones running around like lunatics. That'll be fun. And then on Sunday we have friends coming down with their 2 girls as well who are similar age to Layla. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy weekend.
Yeah. All right. This was lovely. So nice to talk to you again after Edinburgh and everything.
I know. We should do this.
And thanks to everybody who's joined.
We should try and do one like on the weekend if we can at some point, like during daylight hours maybe. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
At some point, maybe.
Darkness.
I can take my wheel out on our balcony and I can sit on the balcony and spin for a bit.
How pretty.
That'd be nice.
This weekend, I'm busy.
I can't do this.
So another weekend.
But in a couple of weeks maybe.
Yeah. All right. So keep in touch, everybody. If you haven't, I think most people have been alerted on your channel and my channel. But if you don't follow Mina, please go follow Mina. And if you don't follow me, please follow me. Thanks.
Yay. Yes. If you don't follow Grace, go follow her. And if you don't follow me, come follow me.
Definitely.
We'll probably host the next one on mine just to kind of like balance it out a bit. But yeah.
Now we figured out how to do it. So yeah.
It's already 10 p.m. so probably should.
I know. This happens on live. It just goes because you're just chatting with friends.
I know. It's nice and easy.
Yeah. All right.
All right. See you soon.
I'll see you later. Shameless promotion.
Yes. Very shameless. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.